Hello and welcome to another episode of Bare Bones Wargaming, a show with no bells, no whistles, no frills, just a man, a camera, and his game. Today, I'm going to take a look at a topic I don't do very often, which is modern warfare, post-World War II, which I do here and there every once in a while when the mood strikes me. And today's game is going to be from the Leader series by DVG Games, Israeli Air Force Leader. Again, part of the Leader series, like some of you may have heard of Phantom Leader, Hornet Leader, those kind of things. Not to be confused with the Field Commander, that's a completely different series. So, this game allows you to take control of a squadron of aircraft in various wars involving the country of Israel, from the Israeli War of Independence, I guess you could call it, in 1948, all the way up through a hypothetical Armageddon war in 2022. So, for this game here, I have decided to go with the basic campaign scenario, which is here the 6-Day War, perhaps the greatest preemptive conflict in military history. When, of course, Israel got the drop on the Arab countries that were planning on attacking them and got control of land that is still disputed today, particularly the Golan Heights. Other places have been given back over time, but the Golan Heights continue to be a very strategic key area in the border region with Syria. This war, of course, interesting, just a little sidelight here, this war interesting from the standpoint of not only perhaps the greatest preemptive attack ever done by a country, but also because, quite frankly, it's a war over water. Basically, the Arab countries made this decision to attack because they heard about the Israelis planning a major irrigation system to try and irrigate the southern desert regions, which, of course, would mean more Israelis, which of course would mean a stronger country, etc., etc. And individuals, particularly Nasser, did not care for that idea. It's also interesting too because when I was a teacher and I taught Middle East and I taught this and then I taught the Yom Kippur War or the October War, depending on your point of view, from 1973, my kids would always ask me, well, you know, the energy crisis, well, how come that didn't happen in 67? Well, basically because it couldn't, for lack of a better way to articulate it. The U.S. was still a net exporter of oil in 1967, so there still was enough oil to go around, hence the non-issue with that. So just a little history there. Michael Oren, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right, O-R-E-N, has a very good book about the 6-Day War that you can check out if you're looking for some background. So let's get into this here. Now, anytime in the Leader series that you choose a campaign, typically you get a campaign that you can choose either a short, medium, or long duration for a number of days. And each day you can fly one or more missions depending on circumstances. Okay. For this one here, for the 6-Day War, it's a little different. I'm choosing to go with the, as it says, the intro one there. Okay, because it's naturally 6 days. And of course you get special ops points, which you can use in the Leader series to buy different things. Special weapons and munitions. You can use them to give your pilots extra rest. And in this game, which Israeli Air Force Leader, in my opinion, is a nice leap in the Leader system, you also get into pilot skills that you can buy your pilots for a cost, naturally. And usually the costs are single, double, triple formats. So, for example, if you're doing the skills, it's 1 special op point for a short campaign, and then, of course, 2 medium and 3 for long. And, of course, you know, it can also be like 6, 12, 18, you know, with other items that you're buying them for. Okay. So, I'm going to begin with that, but you can also get extra op points here for things like, depending on the planes you choose, which I always do mine at random. It's just my approach to the game. I like it because I like to feel like the squadron commander who doesn't have a whole lot of control over anything. And, you know, the powers that be are like, hey, Korchnoi, here are the pilots you get. Here's the units you get. Do your job. And it's like, yes, sir. You salute and you do it rather than having control. So by doing that, you don't know what planes you're going to get and what pilots you're going to get, but you also get extra special ops points. And of course, as you can see here, you can also get extra special points depending on the types of planes that you have chosen. So I did get some special points for that, and I also got some special points for the randomness of it. Now, you also have your campaign map, which basically shows all your targets. And as you can see there, you get stress. Your pilots get stressed depending on where the targets are. Now, some other maps also have WPs on them, which basically means because of the distance, you lose some of your portage points. The weapons points, how much weight of weapons that you can carry, basically, for lack of a better way to put it. And then you also get information like here. It tells you what standard weapons you have, which don't cost a thing. And then over here, as you can see, special weapons. If I want the Sidewinder missiles and the Blue 1 bombs, I have to pay for those. And then, of course, it also tells you who your enemies are. And down here at the bottom, you also get, let me come back out here a little bit. You also get a track covering some different topics. Recon, which basically tells you how many targets that target cards you can pull per turn. Sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down, depending on the circumstances of the campaign you're doing. Intel, which Intel basically is good because it lets you go ahead and get rid of enemy sites, and sometimes bandits, which can be really, really important. Infrastructure, this is new to the series, where it can damage things long-term for your opponent, and also the invasion counter too, because of course Israel being surrounded by 5 hostile countries, at this particular time in 1967, the threat of invasion was huge, especially being cut across the middle because Israel is so skinny, as it were, there. So you also have some situations where as the invasion track moves along, eventually it can have an impact on your folks. Okay? Alright, so that being said, I have my squadron over here and my pilots. Okay? In each campaign, you get a certain number of newbie pilots, green pilots, average pilots, skilled, and then veterans. Okay, and as the game goes on, your pilots are experienced. They can go up from like average to skilled once they get enough experience points. Of course, naturally, you have to fly them, which is risk of, well, being damaged or shot down. But also, of course, you have the stress issue too, which taking the stress points off becomes a major decision as you go through the game. So we'll kind of highlight some of these planes as I use them here for this first mission and operation. Okay. Now all this stuff you record on a campaign sheet, which there's a file on Board Game Geek for this. Okay, and hopefully this is coming through okay because this is the white paper. But you got a place to put your pilots, experience points. I like to do mine in pencil. If you kind of look here a little bit, you can see where the faded numbers are from the last time I used it. I do it always in light pencil because then I can use it more than once. So I have to figure out how to set up. I have some dry erase boards, but I got to figure out how to set it up with such a complicated system like that. It works better for some other systems that I've used, but I have to try to figure out how to do that for this. Okay? Alright, so with all that kind of in mind here, let's go ahead and let's jump right into things. And see how all of this will play out. Okay? Alright, first things first, each turn, you got your pre-flight thing here. And your sequence of play is right over here on this part of the board, which gives you your sequence of play. And then, of course, you have the tactical aspect of things. Because basically, this is a tactical game. We're talking about individual pilots here that you are commanding in battle. So, again, for me, it's one of the few tactical games I own, and I enjoy it. I do find it to be engaging, I guess. A nice gauging that has enough decisions for you to make, but also has a nice storytelling aspect to it, too. So, alright. So let's get started here with the sequence of play, and let's get rolling. So the first thing we do is we draw targets. Now, the number of targets that we draw is based on the recon. Right now, my recon is at 2. So I will draw 2 cards. And I know there's spots here for the event and target deck, but I like to sleeve my cards because it makes shuffling easier. So the blue ones are my target cards, and the kind of aqua ones back there, those are the random event cards. Which, if you look at that, that's a nice healthy stack. One of my criticisms, and I wrote a review on the original Phantom Leader and also on Phantom Leader Deluxe, which I own. One of my criticisms of that game was a lack of a variety of events. I forget how many event cards there were, but there weren't a whole lot. There was like between 15 and 20. But as you can see here, this stack, I don't know. Let me see real quick in the rule book here if it says exactly how many event cards there are. No, I don't see a number. It might be on the back of the box. Let's see. Let me see here. It says 336 full color cards, but that also includes the plain cards. So, yeah. But anyway, you can see that stack is significant. This is definitely a move up on the system here. So we're going to draw 2 target cards. Now we draw them one at a time because one thing that has also changed here with this system is some of the terminology. Now some terminology exists in the Phantom Leader system, like hard targets and soft targets and things like that. But it behooves you, if you don't know a whole lot about the Leader series, or even if you do, when you first get your hands on this, make sure you study this card because there's some new things like Scramble. You know, Scramble is basically, if that word shows up on your target card, stick a fork in you, you're done. Basically, the powers that be have said, hey, get people in the air, get them in the air now because we got to go and rock somebody's world, so to speak. So there is a lot more things here. There's escalation and things like that go on, and of course also the pilot skills, which I purchased at the beginning here of the campaign. Those are new to the system, and there are a lot of those. So you definitely want to study all of that before you start playing. Or of course, you know, you could just go ahead and randomly buy some and assign them and see what happens, kind of thing. Too, if you wanted to, if you like the more immersive method, which, you know, as I get older, I have a tendency to be more immersive, and you know, that does lead to sometimes multiple, what I call clunker plays. I always say clunker plays, like when I'm learning the system, because it's kind of like, you know, anytime you're learning something new, you know, think about when you first learned to ride a bike, how wobbly that was. It was that kind of thing. It's just very awkward, you know, very wonky, to use a word from Peppa Pig, so to speak, which I watch way too much of with a 3-year-old, but that's another story for another time, to quote Conan the Destroyer. Now, 2 cards. Let's see what I have here on the first day of the war. So the first one I've drawn is an enemy headquarters force. Okay, so it has fixed and vehicle. All right, for the keywords there. Okay, and again, you know, fixed is actually for the future, so we don't really need to worry about that. And of course, some weapons will get a modifier when they attack vehicle targets. Okay. Now, each time you have a target card, there's several pieces of information on the target card. Okay. The target card will tell you, first of all, where the target is, so you can look it up on the map and find out exactly how much stress will be inflicted on your pilots. You also have information about if you hit it, how many victory points you get, and how it influences those skills we just talked about a little bit ago. So like this one here, if I wipe out this headquarters force, I'll get an intel and an infrastructure movement across the track. And again, for both of those, that gets me benefits as I continue to put punishment there. You also have information about what sites are there, what bandits are there, and then how many hits you need to destroy the target. Some of them have smaller print like this, which is like for the scenarios in the 40s and 50s, which change certain things like the number of hits that you need to hit it. And it also tells you to destroy it, I should say. And here it also tells you how many planes you can commit. So you can commit up to a maximum of 5 planes to this particular target. Okay. Now this one does not have the scramble word here at the bottom, so I can go ahead and flip the next card over and see what it says. And this one is, a World Power Naval Fleet. Huh. I haven't seen this one yet. I played this campaign once just to kind of refresh my brain on the system and the rules and stuff, but I haven't done anything since with that. So, have this. Now this one has the escalation keyword. Now in this game, another deck of cards is the escalation deck. So anytime you destroy or attack a target that's got the escalation word, you're going to pull a card off the escalation deck. And the escalation deck will have impacts, mostly negative, like last game. I was cruising along pretty well, so to speak, and doing pretty well, and then I attacked the target that had escalation, and when I flipped the escalation card, it basically was a bunch of protesters, anti-war people, giving me nothing but grief, and it cost me victory points. So I ended up, instead of having a good result, I ended up with adequate, because of course they're rocking the boat, so to speak, to comment about the Hughes Corporation, if you know that song. Don't rock the boat, baby. Which, by the way, a little bit of trivia, is considered to be the first disco song ever. And that came out in the early 70s, I want to say. I think, like 74, maybe? I don't know, I have to look it up. But anyway, a little bit of trivia there. That is considered to be the first disco song. So, rocking the boat can happen with the escalation stuff. Notice there's some extra stress here, too. Okay. Alright, well, this is kind of early in the campaign, and I don't know if I want to be escalating things, because I don't have any victory points to begin with. Okay. Now, if I want to, I could spend some of my precious special op points, and I could draw another card if I wish. But I'm going to go ahead and go after this headquarters force. Let's go ahead and blow this to oblivion. Now, this card will go into the discard pile, and it could be used for the future. If I ever get back through the deck, I might have a chance to go after it again, or not. And of course, some of that also depends on the length of the campaign. But again, this one is only 6 days. So once I've chosen the target card, I go ahead and put it in the center there, and now I select and determine and place sites. Okay. Now again, for this one, we're going to have 2 sites in every approach spot: north, east, south, and west, and then 3 in the middle. So let's get drawn. All right. So on the north, I have 2 sites. I have a SAM, and I have some heavy machine guns. To the east, well, there's no site and another SAM. Okay. To the south, ooh, there is a SAM and a AAA down there, I believe is what that other item is. And then to the west, whew, there are a lot of sites here, man. And then in the center, there's actually 3. So, well, 1 break. I got no sight. And then we got some more machine guns and another SAM site. Yikes. That is a lot of sights. Now, I'll take the 2 that say no sights and take them and put them back into the cup. Alright. Now, once you've done that, for every site that has a range of 1 or more. Okay, so let's look here at the north. We'll zoom in on the north here. Okay, you're going to draw an angle counter. Now, the angle counters basically are used to represent geography, areas that the site can fire at. So maybe it can't fire to the right of it because, you know, there's a mountain there, or there's something else obstructing it, a building or whatever and stuff. Okay, so notice these 2 counters. This one does not have any range number. This one does, a range of 2. The SAM site does. So I'll draw one for the SAM site, but not for these guys because they do not have a range. So into the cup we go, and when you draw it, you put it next to the site or behind it or something like that, whatever works for you as far as organizing goes, and you point the arrow outward. Now, anything that's red means the site can see it. So these guys here, they can see everything. So that's not good. By contrast, we'll take a look over here at this eastern approach here in just a moment. Over here in the east, you can see, now this one, they really only can see folks coming in from the east. Okay, so that's kind of good. And down here on the bottom, we got another SAM site, which basically can see most of the board. Okay, I'll move that down for you. There we go. And then next to it, we've got another site. They can't see a whole lot, so that's good news. And then over here, we've got one more site that again can see very limited parts of the board. Okay. Now these can be useful because your planes, you decide which side of the board they're going to enter in, and also the altitude. So like if you look at these 2 counters here in the southern approach, okay, you can see the one on the left has an L. So it can only shoot at aircraft at low altitude. The one on the right has an H. The SAMs can only shoot at aircraft at high altitude. So you have to decide where you want to bring your planes in, and then of course depending on the altitude that you choose, those would be the sites that can open fire on you. And then, of course, when you look at the angles, the area that they can cover, then you can also decide, okay, so, you know, what's the best way to come in so I can avoid the most sites, which is kind of what I'm thinking about and looking at here right now. So, because these guys here, this one covers everything, so I could just take a gamble and try to sneak past these guys flying in here at high altitude. Okay. Now the center, I should mention the center sights here, like this SAM sight. If it's a center sight, you don't draw an angle counter. It's only for ones that are in the approach areas. That SAM sight basically can see everybody all the time, so to speak. Okay. Now I'm kind of looking at this guy here though too, because these two guys are low. But this guy, even if I come in high this way, he's still going to be able to whack us. Or at least have a chance to whack us. And actually so is this one, unless I come in from up here. And if I come in from up here at high altitude, these guys will be the only ones, well these ones too I guess, to really get a shot at me. But if I come in low, then these guys will have a shot, but these guys won't. And of course the machine guns will here. Then again, if I come in low this way, then nobody, yeah, this one, this angle counter does not cover over there. So you know what? I'm going to come in low over here. Okay. So now I need to go ahead and assign my pilots, whoever I want to do this with. Now I need 6 hits on this thing, which is not a whole lot. And there's the potential you can see for a lot of bandits. There's 2 bandits that are going to go in every approach area and potentially 3 in the center. So I want to go over here and pick some guys that are going to be able to give me a good balance for attack on my opponents. Okay. Now, usually this stuff, like the skills and stuff, you can see the skill counters here, like the quick hands on brick here. Usually that's the kind of stuff that you record on your sheet. I like to have the visual aspect of things. So you'll notice that I will go ahead and use that approach for the game. So I can assign up to 5 pilots. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, I'm going to go ahead, and what I have a tendency to do is I bring the pilots down here all in a row that I'm going to use, and then slide the other guys to the top. So anticipating that there might be a few bandits that may end up causing me some grief, I'm going to go ahead and pick 2 guys that have some pretty good air-to-air numbers. Now each pilot is rated for his air-to-air ability and air-to-ground ability as well too. Okay, we'll get into that more when we actually start shooting here in a little bit. But let's go ahead and I'm going to bring these guys into here, because both these guys here, both Dragon and Cook, have +2 on their air-to-air abilities. And then I'm going to go ahead and choose Mouse and Brick, because I want to get them some experience, even though their numbers aren't so good. I do want to get them experience, and they can carry a lot of munitions too. Which means now I need 1 experienced pilot to really kind of land things here. So let me see, who should I go with here? That's got a good air-to-ground number. Here, we'll go with Handsome. Handsome's got +3, so we'll go with him. Okay, so here are my 5 pilots that are going to be flying the mission. Okay, so let's focus in on one of these in particular, just to give you an overview of the information that's on a card. We'll go ahead and we'll focus on Handsome over here. Actually, you know what? We're going to focus on Dragon. And I like Dragon just because when I was a chess player, I used to play the Sicilian Dragon. I still play the Sicilian Dragon, but I only play... whoops, sorry about that. I only play bullet games online anymore. I don't really play any other chess. It's just too much of a time commitment, quite frankly, to play competitively anymore. So here you can see there's a couple different numbers that are on the card here. This is situational awareness. He has none. Actually, all my pilots do, so won't really get into that, but you can use that for different things like firing first and things like that. Also tells you cool, how much stress relief they get, you know, how much of a cool customer they are, if you want to put it that way, how much weight you can carry, and each weapon, as we'll see here in a minute, has certain weight on it. And then it also gives you 2 levels of status, either okay or shaken. Okay, and then it also tells you the speed. Will they be able to attack first before the enemy does, or will they be slow? In this particular case, Dragon is slow. And then the modifier. So here, air to air is +2, and his air to ground is also +2 as well. Now, each one of these planes has an inherent cannon that can be used, but then you can also put weapons on them as well too. Some weapons don't cost a thing. Other weapons you have to pay special ops points for, and when you do that, you basically have to pay the weight of the weapon, which I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start with Dragon here. And since Dragon's going to be basically one of my air-to-air guys here, I'm going to go ahead and pick him up 3 Sidewinder missiles, which have a weight of 1, so that will cost me 3 special op points to start the game here. Okay, and I just put them on the card there. As you expend them, of course, you remove them. So I'll go here to my log and basically make a note that I'm going to use those 3 special op points for that. Now, where's my other air-to-air guy? Because I want to kind of keep them together. So hang on here a second. I'm going to slide some folks around here, so just bear with me. Okay. So let's go ahead and arm the rest of these characters up here, and then we'll get flying the unfriendly skies, as it were. Okay. So now Handsome here can carry 3 points of weight. One of the things that my guys can have is a Mark 84 bomb. Okay. And you see here you got the weight number, that's the 3. You've got the 3 numbers across the top, that's damage points. So if you roll a 3 or better, you get 1 damage point. 5 or better causes 2. 8 or better causes 3. Also tells you what altitude. Most of the time it's low altitude, but not always for them. And then of course the range, which is 0. So basically you have to be on top of the target to drop this bad boy. So that's the only thing he's going to be able to carry, because that's 3 points of weight. Now Mouse is going to go ahead, and he's got 5 points of weight on him. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a couple of bombs here. Kaboom! Kaboom! I'll go ahead and give him Mark 84. That's 3 weight points. And then I'll go ahead and give him... where's a Mark 83 at? Come on, you guys. Where are you? All the weapons counters, by the way, are 2-sided. So sometimes it might take you a little bit of time to kind of dig through there. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing with his fellow recent pilot there, Brick. I'm going to go ahead and give him an 83 and an 84. That's 5 weight points altogether with them. And the one thing to keep in mind about the weight points is when you do air-to-air combat, depending how much weight is on a plane, that will affect and give you a negative modifier, because of course the weight slows you down, accuracy, blah blah blah, etc., etc. Okay. All right, and we've already armed Dragon, and then Cook is my other air-to-air guy, but he's +1 on air-to-ground too. So you know what I'm going to do is this: I'm going to give him 2 Sidewinders. But I'm also going to give him, as well, I'll give him a 1-point bomb, which is the Mark 82, as well, just in case, a little insurance there, so to speak. Okay, so now my 5 planes are ready to roll, and we're ready to go take it to the enemy. So let me find their counters here. So Handsome, Brick. Who else do we got? We got Dragon and Mouse and Cook. And okay, so we're all ready to move over to the tactical board. And we're going to be coming in here shortly as we go through things here with the sequence of play. Okay? Alright, so there's my guys at the bottom, which I just go ahead and do that because I just like doing it that way. So I've armed my aircraft. Now we draw a target-bound event. Now each event card has 3 sections to it. Okay, the top one is for your target-bound event. The middle one is your over-target, and then your home-bound event. So here, as you can see, I'm going to have to pay 2 SO points, or choose any one pilot with a skill to lose their skill. Psst, it's too early in the campaign to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and pay the 2 SO points. So I always want to have some SO points left behind here. So let me go ahead and total up. So I've got 5 points of special ops that I spent on the air-to-air missiles, and then 2 more there is 7 out of my remaining 27 that I had before. So I have spent 7 thus far. Okay? Alright, next part here. We're going to place my aircraft and choose their altitude. So I'm going to go ahead, because of what I figured out with all the counters here and stuff, I'm going to bring my boys in over here and bring them at low altitude so we can duck under the SAM sites. And then of course all the low altitude enemy sites don't have the angle to be able to hit on this eastern approach over here. So that actually worked out well. So the only thing I'm really going to have to worry about now is how many bandits show up. And then of course this guy here, because he's always going to fire at me because I have to come in at low altitude to blast this enemy headquarters into oblivion. Alright, So I placed and chose an altitude, and now we're going to go back to the cup and choose the bandits. Now again, bandits, just like sights, you choose them, you place them down, so there's 2 on every approach. So here we go. Alright, so 2 up here in the north. Whoo, and there are indeed 2. Let's see. What do we get to the east? We get, oh, no bandits at all, neither one. Okay. And notice, as you place them here, I'll zoom in here a little bit. As you place them, you keep them on the board until you've placed everybody. So even when you draw the no bandit counters, you don't immediately put them back in the cup. Okay, the south approach, oh shoot. Unfortunately, the south approach, we're going to have 2 more bandits. As you can see from me flipping there, the counters, they are 2-sided. So one side is bandits and the other side are the sights. Okay, over here to the west, no sight but one, or no bandit but one bandit also. And then in the middle, we have up to 3. But we got kind of lucky with that. No bandit, and then 1 bandit. Okay, so we'll take off all the markers that are no bandits, and the bandit aircraft all have both high and low altitude, because of course, you know, they're going to adjust themselves to wherever your guys are coming in to attack. Okay. Now the next thing you would do is you do an intel adjustment. So like I said, later on that track, like happened last campaign, I got up to the point where it had -2 sights. I could destroy 2 sights, which can come in handy because when you're trying to figure out where your pilots are coming in from, then you can go ahead and wipe out sites and basically pave a nice little road for yourself. But this is the first day of the campaign, so I haven't built up any intel stock, if you will, so that's not going to happen. Okay, and now we have our over target event. So let's see what we get for this one. It's the middle one here. Okay, move 1 random approach area site to the center area. What? Oh boy, that's not going to be good. So 1 random approach sites to the center. Okay. Alright, so now first thing I'm going to do is total up how many sites there are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'll use an 8-sided die. Find out which one we're going to move. We're moving 1. 1 is the loneliest number that you... Oh wait, that's after 67. I'm pretty sure that's early 70s, 3 Dog Night. Which of course, I guess I'm just kind of in a trivia mood tonight. Which, by the way, became the biggest band in the world after the Beatles broke up in the early 70s. So this one will move to the center, but of course, because my strategy is to come in low, it's not going to matter. So it actually worked out okay. All right, now we place the turn marker over here, and the turn marker goes up to 5 turns. So basically, you have 5 turns to get your boys in there, blow everything up, and get the heck home. Hopefully safe and sound and intact. Alrighty, so here we go. Make this maybe a tiny bit tighter. There we go. Showing everybody and what's going on. Well, we're kind of cutting off a little bit there. There we go. Alright, so here we go. So first things first, fast pilots attack. Well, I have no fast pilots. My guys all are slow. So, alright, too bad, so sad for me. Okay. So, next part here is sights and bandits will attack. Now, I usually do it in that order because that's what it says. So, the sights first. So, as we look at the board here, we're at lower altitude. Are there any sights that can attack us? Well, no, because this SAM site, we're at low altitude. This low altitude site, because the angle marker can't see us over there, which is very fortuitous. And same thing over here with these low guys here. And then, like the heavy machine guns, they can only attack that's in their space because they have no range number, unlike this one. You can see there's the 1, they have a range of 1, which basically means they can attack here, 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 basically any space within a range of 1, and that's it. Okay. Alright, so sights aren't going to be able to attack us, but bandits are a different story. Okay, so now we have to look to see if any bandits are within range of us. Well, they're not. Some of the bandits, and let me tell you what, I'll zoom in on these 2 bandits on the south side here, so to speak. Some of them, you can see there on the right, the SU-7 has a 1, so they can fire at a range of 1. The MiG-19, yeah, does not, so the MiG-19 can only fire at planes that are in its own space. Okay, and of course right now, zooming back out, we are more than 1 space away, so none of these MiGs will be able to attack us. Okay. Conversely, of course, now that it's our turn to attack, slow pilots attack now. Well, basically, even with my Sidewinder missiles, which have a range of 1, I can't hit them, which makes sense because they can't hit me at a range of 1 either. Okay, so now my aircraft will move and adjust altitude. So every time you move into a new space, you can adjust your altitude. So yeah, if you choose a path where it's like, okay, one space there's, you know, weapons that can get us at high altitude and we'll duck under them, and the next space that won't happen because the angle of attack counters and stuff, you can pop up, so to speak, to high altitude to avoid some low altitude stuff. Yeah, you can't do that with this game, so you can change it every single time you go through. However, I'm going to stay low. Low can you go? And basically try to avoid everything else. Now, of course, since once we move, then the bandits get to move. So all enemy bandits will basically start to close in on your people. Alright, so we're going to get a pretty stacked space here in about 2 seconds, because these guys are all going to move in and set up shop, including this guy. Holy smoke. And then, of course, this guy will be moving into the center and coming after us. So this next turn here, things are going to get pretty hairy with some serious air-to-air combat situations there. Okay. Now, once that happens, then you advance the turn counter. So now we have our second turn over target. And again, you can have a maximum of 5. Okay. So we start the sequence again. I have no fast pilots. And now all these MiGs will go ahead and try to attack my planes. Now, you always choose them at random when you're trying to decide the target. Or at least I do all the time. I don't remember specifically because I've been playing these leader games for quite a while. If you do... with every single attack, you do choose every single time at random. Let's see. Each site in the bandit attacks individually may only attack 1 aircraft. Closest aircraft. If more than 1 aircraft is equally close, randomly determine which one is attacked. So technically here, and this has happened before in some games, you know, like 3 MiGs could be ganging up on 1 plane, you know, for whatever reason. You know, maybe they don't see the other planes, maybe, you know, that's the guy's job. You know, like in Failsafe, you know, the number 6 plane is the decoy kind of thing. So let's see what's going to happen here. We've got 5, so I'm going to use some 10-sided dice to determine who's getting what. So we're going to start up here with this MiG-19 and see which plane he's going after. And he is going after, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8. He is going to go after Handsome. Okay? Now, the numbers on the aircraft for the MiG, there are 3 numbers. And let's just talk about those now. So you can see here this MiG-19 has a 5, 8, and a 10. Okay? So if the number falls between 5 and 7, or less than 5, nothing's going to happen. Let's start there. If it's between 5 and 7, it's 1 stress on your pilot. If it is an 8 or a 9, your plane is going to get damaged, which basically means you end up with 2 stress, you end up with all your weapons gone, and if that plane takes another hit, well, it's bye-bye birdie, so to speak. Potentially. There is a step towards the end of each mission where you can do basically search and rescue activity to see if you get that. And then, of course, the third number, if you roll a 10 or better, which with modifiers is possible, then you can basically, you blow it out of the sky. It's thanks for playing. Here's some nice party gifts for you. Now, your pilots, whenever they're targeted, you can do evasive maneuvers, which evasive maneuvers basically means you roll 2 dice and you take the lower of it. Now, the flip side is that adds 2 stress automatically to your pilots. Remember we said before, there is a range where some of your pilots will be okay, and then they will end up being shaken. So let's see what this MiG is going to do to Mr. Handsome here. And of course, this game uses 10-sided dice, and the 0 is a 10. Okay? So let's see what's going to happen here to Mr. Handsome. Okay. Well, Mr. Handsome has some issues. He ended up with a 9. Now, This is one thing where I do have a tendency to do a little house rule. Just because sometimes I think you can have a bunch of bad rolls, which basically can doom your guys, and, you know, it's like, what's the freaking point? So, sometimes, depending on the skill of the pilot, like Handsome here, when you look at his skill level, he is very skilled. So sometimes what I'll do is, and this is just my house rule, this is not an official rule, this is just a rule that I feel personally is a balancing thing. And again, your mileage may vary, but then what I'll do if the pilot has more experience, I will go ahead and after I see the first number, you know, almost like having that awareness, looking around and be like, holy smoke, you know, shoot, and then realizing, uh-oh, I'm in big trouble, I better do something, and then I'll roll the second die, okay, for that. So, Handsome is skilled, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and the lower of the two rolls is a 5, so Old Handsome is going to get 1 stress marked on his card, okay? Now, marking it, I like to do it again on the cards because it's easy for me to see quickly visually rather than doing it on the log sheet. Again, you can do it however you want. It does kind of make the cards a little crowded, but I'd rather be able to see it, quite frankly, than, you know, have to always be referencing the sheet and stuff. It's nice just to be able to see it and be like, oh, bang, you know, I know what his situation is, what's going on, blah, 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 etc., etc. Okay? All right. So, first MiG. That's what happened. Second MiG here. What do we got coming up here next? We have, for a second MiG, we got a MiG-17. So he's got to pick one of these guys to target. And he is choosing to target Cook. Okay. Now, Cook has an average rating. So, yeah, if I'm going to do the 2 dice, I probably should do it now. But you know what? We'll take our chances and let's see what happens. So, Cook. That was smart for him to take his chances because that's a 3. An upside down 3, but it's still a 3. So, no worries for him. It is less than the first number, which is a 6. So he is fine. Now, third plane shooting at my guys is an SU-7. Okay, so they are targeting, let's see, they are targeting the Dragon. Now, Dragon is the veteran of my group. So let's see how he makes out. Okay, first roll there, that's a 7. Woo, gotta take some evasive maneuvers then, man. Second one was a 2, so okay, completely missed. Well, that's good that he completely missed. So now, of course, he will end up with 2 stress. Oops, I forgot to give Hanson his stress for maneuvering, so actually he has 3 stress. If you do evasive maneuvers, you're going to add 2 stress to your plane, so just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, so I should have done that. I corrected that now on his card. He now has 3. Alright, keep moving along here. I'm sorry, that was a MiG-21. That was not an SU-7. That was a MiG-21. Okay, another MiG-19 is going to open fire here. And again, he's going to go after the Dragon. Alright. So Dragon seems to be a popular foe. Well, they probably recognize some kind of insignia or something or whatever, realize he is the badass air-to-air guy of my group, and he is, quite frankly. Alright, well, good news and bad news for that. Some evasive maneuvers again, to keep him out of trouble, but now it does take him up to 4, because all that maneuvering is stressful, okay? So I'm going to have to start watching now, because although his range for OK is 0 to 8, I'm halfway to getting him shaken. And of course all your values drop once you start to end up shaking. And then the last MiG here, or no, here's the SU-7. I knew there was an SU-7 in this group. So here's the SU-7. He is targeting, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's targeting Brick. She's a brick. Sorry. Ben folds 5, I believe. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. Mr. Brick. Well, Mr. Brick, unfortunately, it was a 10. So let's see what Mr. Brick has. What does he have for? Only he has quick hands. So unfortunately, he's been shot down. So bye-bye, Mr. Brick. That was an unfortunate result. But that's the way that goes. So Brick has been shot down. All his ordnance is gone. He's gone. And of course, remember I had 5 weight points there. I had 2 bombs on him, so I was really kind of counting on him. Alright, now my pilots will get to retaliate, okay, with their numbers and fight back here at this point. And again, most of them, unfortunately, will be using their guns because they don't have the air-to-air missiles that are required. However, Dragon will go ahead and open up first on that MiG-21. Okay. Now the MiGs, again, also, so let me zoom in on the MiG-21 just to show you here. Okay, if you look at the bottom there, there's a +2. Now that's an automatic modifier. Even if you just use your cannon, you get to go ahead and add that 2 to it. So I'll add that +2, plus Dragon has +2 air-to-air ability, so that's now +4 to hit. And I need a 6 or better to nail. And I rolled a 7. So there's only one word for that. Kaboom! He's knocked out of the sky. So that's one less mouth to feed. As a chess player I used to say when a pawn was taken off the board every single time. So that takes care of that situation there. Now, of course, I expend that ordnance, so that one missile now goes back into the stock to be used at a later date if I wish to go ahead and arm some more of those. So now Mr. Cook is going to go ahead and open up here. Okay, so he's got +2. I'm going to have him go after the other dangerous one, which is the Su-7, which actually has a +3. So that's going to be +5 for him. And since the 0 is a 10, 1 and 5 is 6, so it basically means he can't miss. So bye-bye, Su-7. Bam! There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, now we've still got 3 enemy aircraft flying around. And now we're going to have the other guys have a shot, except for Brick, of course, because he's gone, to try and take them out. So Handsome will go first. He has 3 weight points on him, which will give him a modifier of, I believe, -1. Yes, -1. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and attack the MiG-19 because it has better numbers there. So that's +3, +1 for his air-to-air, so that's +4, but -1 for his weight, which will take him down to +3. And he's using his gun, so basically he will need a 7 or better, because guns always hit on a 10. And he rolled a 4, so no dice. Alright, Mouse. Mouse has got problems, man. Whew. Mouse has got major issues. Alright, Mouse is going to go ahead and target also one of the +3s there, but he has a -2 A-to-A. Okay, and he also is going to get -1 for his weight, so unfortunately he's going to need a 10. So there's only one thing to say about that. And I'm sure some of you will recognize this if you're part of the age group that I am. 0, my hero, how wonderful you are. Oh, well, it's a 7, so that didn't do me any good. Alright. And that's it, because I only had the other 2 guys. So we still got 3 MiGs, plus this Su-7 over here, coming after us here this next turn. Okay? Yikes, and we haven't got to the target yet. That's not good. Alright. So now, we got the chance to shoot. So now we're going to go ahead and close in here. Again, still at low altitude. The MiGs will all follow us. And of course the one that's already here will be there. And now we'll also have this sight, the heavy machine gun guys, to open up too as we head into turn 3 to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and try to move through this a little more quickly so you can see the bombing runs and see how that works for the game. Because I kind of gone over in detail attacks and stuff by the enemy at this point. So now that I only got 4 planes left, I need to find my 4-sided dice, which will help me to determine randomly who's being targeted by who, so to speak. Okay, so we'll start with the sight, the heavy machine gun sight. Let's see, and they are going after Mouse. So, the Mouse is the target. Let's see if they get anything. And no, they missed. Okay, so Mouse is good. Alright, now we got 4 MiGs. 4 MiGs are going to be opening up here. Alright, once again, Mouse is the target for one of the MiGs. The top one there. And mouse must be living right. They missed again. Okay, good for him. Alright, MiG-17. The second MiG there. Let's see who he's going to target. Okay. They must like have it in for mouse, or everybody went after the same plane. But hey, you know, bad for mouse, good for the rest of us. And ooh, that one was a little bit closer this time. Mouse's luck is starting to run down there. That was a 5, so very close. But close only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and tactical nuclear warfare, which this is not. Ah, hey, finally somebody else is targeted here, and this is going to be Cook by the MiG-19. And Cook, well, Cook, that was a roll of 1, so that's total miss. That's not even near. Or to quote Major League, just a bit outside. And then the last MiG is going after the Dragon. Or I'm sorry, it's not a MiG, it's the Su-7. And he rolled a 5. Okay, that's one more stress point. But you know what, for Dragon, that takes him up to 5 points, but he's still okay. His range is 0 to 8, so not a problem. Okay. Alright. Oh. See, I should have been paying more attention to some of the skills here. I did get Overwatch to Dragon. I could have had him fire off missiles sooner. Whoops. Once, right? Once permission. During the bandit's move step. If it moves into range of your weapon. Curses. Okay, I blew it. I dropped the bomb on that one. Alright, speaking of dropping things, now we're ready. We survived all these things. Now, I could shoot at some of this stuff, but of course, you know, what's the point? I want to destroy the target. So let's see if we can get the target here. So we'll start with the guys that have the real weapons, so to speak. Okay, so that'll be Mouse first. Unfortunately, he has a -2 modifier with his air to ground. So let's see what happens here with his Mark 84 and Mark 83 bombs. So the first one is a nice high number. It's an 8. So that's good news. The second one, not so good. It's a 2. Alright, so the Mark 84 bomb with the 8 here. We got 3 numbers there. We have 3, 5, and 8. Well, unfortunately, 8 minus 2 is 6, but that's still worth 2 damage points on the target. The other one totally missed because the range is 5, 7, 10. So that completely missed, but we do have 2 points of damage on it. Now, there are damage markers. I just like to use, you know, 12 and 20-sided dice. That's just, again, my preference. It's easier and quicker to see, and you know, those of you who are part of the old Wargaming group, so to speak, you know what I'm talking about here. As you get older, being able to see things is very important, so to speak. Okay, so, okay, Brick's been shot down. So now we have Handsome is going to go ahead. Now he has a +3 on his air ground. So we're going to go ahead and try to get a good hit here with him. He rolled an 8 +3 is 11. Kaboom! Best hit possible. So that's 3 more hits. So that's 5. So I need 1 more hit to destroy the target, because remember, the number of hits I need is 6. So I've got Dragon, and I have Cook. Now remember, Cook I gave that little Mark 82 bomb to. Okay? So he has +1. So let's see. All he needs to get is a 6 or better. Come on, man. Survey says it's a 2. Oh no! But let's go take a look at Mr. Cook for a minute. Look at Mr. Cook. What does Mr. Cook have on him? Why, it is the timely skill. Now the timely skill basically says this: if you have that skill marker, you can expend it, which means of course it's gone from the game. And after rolling for an air-to-ground attack, you treat the roll as a 10. So guess what? Kaboom! And that, of course, will give us the last hit that we need. So target is destroyed. Alright, now, here is one part that gets a little wonky, if you ask me. Rather than having to scramble your planes out of there and exit, which one could argue would seem to be logical, at this point now, at the end of the movement step, when I'm ready to move, I can just exit the map. So basically, you know, we can kick the tires and light the fires and get going. And, you know, make like a bread truck and haul buns, which is what I'm going to do because I destroyed the target. So, bye-bye, birdie. Let me flip this to, well, technically it's a 7. Which you do want to keep track of all your hits because there are some targets that have words on them that say like overkill. Like if there's 6 hits on the target, but it says overkill 8+, if you get 8 hits, you pick up extra victory points. So that's kind of cool too. Alright, so we're bugging out. Bye-bye. Thanks for flying. Bye-bye. We got the target. Bye-bye. Alright, homebound event. Let's see what our homebound event is. Anything good this time? Oh no, man, what the heck is this? Look at this. So I got to roll an attack against 3 random aircraft and find out who's going to get extra stress, who's going to get damaged, that kind of thing. Alright, now at this point, this is kind of running long, longer than most of my videos do, because there's quite a few steps to this and all, okay? So I'm just going to kind of briefly go over the debriefing process, okay? Again, basically what you're going to end up doing is once you get home to base, you're going to record your victory points. You're also going to come over here and see the intel and the infrastructure. So what I'll do is I'll come over here to these tracks and I'll move both of these markers, okay, the intel and the infrastructure. Now, unfortunately, there's still no change in any -0, but again, as I hit more and more targets, then I'm going to go ahead and be able to get the benefits from that. As you can see, the track goes up to like -1 side, -2 side, and the infrastructure numbers also increase as well. Okay, and then of course you're going to add the target. Well, the target was 15, which 15 is, where is 15? There it is. Okay, on this side, that's an extra stress of, whoops, a little low there, extra stress of 3, so all my pilots will get 3 stress on them, okay? And then recovery, basically recovery is 2 ways. The cool number, okay, like Dragon has a coolness of 2, so you would subtract 2 off his stress. And then of course pilots who don't fly get a removal of 2 stress plus their coolness factor. So for example, if Dragon did not fly a mission, he would get 2 points removed plus his cool factor of 2 for a total of 4 stress points removed. And you can also pay special option points to remove 2 points off every pilot plus their cool factor. So that also can end up being a big factor there. And then once you're done doing all that, then you go ahead and you prep and prepare for the next mission. Okay? So, again, Israeli Air Force leader kind of gives you a little more of an in-depth approach to the game. There's definitely more things to do here, some more decisions to make, as opposed to, I can't remember if Phantom Leader was the first one. Well, I guess Corsair Leader was, and Hornet Leader way back in the early 90s. I used to have the old GMT version. I still have the old GMT version of Thunderbolt Apache Leader somewhere around here in the man cave. But I guess as far as the newer line goes, Phantom Leader was one of the first ones, and then of course it seemed to be quite successful and it was a lot of fun. Then they came up with the deluxe one, which added things, including the angle counters, which were not in the original Phantom Leader game. And then of course, you know, you have Hornet Leader, you have this one. I do have Corsair Leader. I did the Kickstarter on that, which those of you who've seen some of my other videos, you already know that, but I'll be honest, I haven't pulled that one back out because it's got some, there's some issues. It's just, I mean, I like what they did as far as variety and stuff goes, but there's not a really good separate rule book for like carrier operations. It's on a card, and there's the information there, but it's, you know, it's kind of like being the big fish in the little pond. I need more water, because you know sometimes you need that to swim, so you can understand everything and explore everything. So, I mean, I'm sure I'll go back to it. I'm kind of keeping an eye on the threads on Board Game Geek to watch and see how all that shakes out and develops. But as of right now, I haven't touched it since I messed with it when it first came out, what, last August? September? Somewhere around there it came out at the time. So, So Phantom Leader I'll probably pull off the shelf sometime in the near future. Hornet Leader I haven't played with quite a bit lately. I'm not sure why. And then, of course, actually, I do have one more of the Leader series, the B-17 Flying Fortress Leader, which actually is my favorite of the series now because it's a little more of an operational game. And the support and the rewriting of the rule book by Dean Brown, I believe, is the designer on that, has been phenomenal. You know, the first version of that rule book was UGLY, ain't got no alibi. It was ugly. It would give Hitler's Reich a run for its money on, you know, the, what do they call those? Raspberries, BAFTAs, I think, for like the film industries. It would be, now, I don't know about the BAFTA one. Raspberry, I'm pretty sure is what the British do for like really bad films. That would definitely, those two would be in contention for the Raspberry award because, whoo, wow, that was yikes. Yeah, okay. But don't let that turn you off to B-17 Flying Fortress Leader. If you're thinking about it, I think they do have a new revised second edition rulebook. And if you have already have the first edition copy, like me, you can print it off on Board Game Geek and send them the files. And it is a really cool game. There's a lot of things going on there. It's a lot of fun. I really, really enjoy it. I should really do a video about that at some point. The only problem with doing the videos on the Leader games, as you've seen from this one, is that it takes a while because there are so many steps. It is a solitaire game, and really with any solitaire game, you always have a lot of steps because, of course, you are making all the die rolls to make decisions for, you know, the opponent who is not there. Unless, of course, you know, you're skilled at being split personality kind of thing, so to speak. So, anyhow, so that gives you an overview of Israeli Air Force Leader. I'll probably finish this 6-day campaign off again because I'd like at least a good result. And then I'll probably go to the Suez Canal one, which is in here too. I've always found the Suez Canal crisis to be interesting, especially from the political aspect of what was going on behind the scenes and stuff like that. And politically, I mean, yeah, that was a triumph for Nasser, given all the stuff that he got out of it, and you know, the backlash against the British and the French, and even to a certain extent the U.S. And of course, you know, sometimes it's hard to nowadays to think back and kind of put yourself in the shoes of people at the time. But you got to remember that also happened at the same time that the Hungarian uprising was going on, and that was a very, very tense couple of weeks. You know, I mean, not as tense as say the Cuban Missile Crisis, but still, I mean, you had two major crises going on at the same time that, you know, Ike was juggling, and you know, Ike finally, I think, is getting more recognition for what he did with that juggling, because he was a lot more skilled at it than people were giving him credit for many years. But some recent books that have reevaluated his foreign policy, including Ike's Bluff, which came out a year or two ago, which was a very good book. I read that one. You know, he's finally getting the credit that he deserves for being, you know, more thoughtful, you know, than people have given him credit in the past for. You know, like even the whole thing with, just to give you one quick example, just the whole thing even with like the Bay of Pigs thing and stuff. You know, when the CIA was presenting him with plans to get rid of Castro and stuff, I always ask them the same question. Okay, so who takes over? Who is a person that the country's going to rally behind? We'll have somebody in there solidly and stuff. And since the CIA could never give him, you know, a person and say, oh, this is the guy that we'll go with, then I would never greenlight it, because he's like, no, we're not going to go ahead and topple things and destabilize things unless we have somebody in place to step up in the pocket, so to speak, and take over and, you know, make that transition and solidify things and calm things down. So he never greenlighted it. So anyway, just to give you one example. So anyway, Israeli Air Force Leader. If you like the Leader series, I think you should look into this one. It's definitely worth the time and effort to pick up, because it does add, you know, with the skills and some of the new keywords and stuff, it really does add to the Leader series, in my opinion. And of course, if you're interested in the Arab-Israeli wars, it's also a very good game from that perspective, too. So, speaking of which, I'm not sure what I'm going to do after this one. I might do another Leader game, but I might go ahead and... I have a limited number of Middle Eastern games that I have. I have like... I have some more modern hypothetical things like Target Iran and the Oil War, But I also have the 6-Day War, which was published in Modern War magazine, which actually is a pretty good game. I did a review of that in a session report on Board Game Geek for that. But then I also have the classic Barlev, which, if you know anything about that, that map, to quote Manfred Mann's Earth Band, Mama always told me not to look into the eyes of the sun. But of course, if you like Middle Eastern games, Mama, that's where the fun is. So I do have a handful of Middle Eastern games that maybe I'll look into if I'm going on a Middle East run. I haven't done much with the Middle East in years, so we'll see, or not, or maybe I'll come back with something else completely different. You know, I'll go whole Monty Python and go, you know, now for something completely different. So, if you like the Leader series, Israeli Air Force Leader is a good addition to it. Okay, so check that out, pick it up, go ahead and get it. It'll be worth it if you enjoy the Leader series. So, as always, this is Tim Korsnoy from Bare Bones Wargaming, saying thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Time and place and topic TBD. Yeah, TBD is probably the best way to put it. All right. Thanks for watching. See you next time.